one more thing is about this, while UDSF and left movement, in my experience also, I find the left movement, as you also referred in the earlier discussion, that they are cobra under the grass.
Yeah.
And I strongly feel the division between UDSF, the Dalit movement, and the left is, there is an ideological fight which Dalit movement does. Which the left movement doesn't do any ideological fight. They somehow the other way linear towards RSS and Hindutva nationalism. For namesake, they say that that's a different color. So that could you, in your experience also, because for example, the debates on Ambedkar's revolution, anti-caste legislation, and also burning Manusmriti, and various forms of Ambedkar's writings which talks about the Hinduism itself. So that kind of a criticism, are they accepting your view of things, and how UDSF plays a crucial role in transformation of the society itself, rather than the vote bank politics, which left and ABVP goons do that.
As I earlier said, UDSF was never been a political organization in JNU. And there are legacies of this UDSF in JNU. I think to some extent all the teachers, S.K. Thorat, Gopal Guru, Professor Vivek Kumar, Nanduram, and other sympathetic teachers who were always in support of UDSF. This Dr. Alone was one of my teacher friend, was in JNU, was very much in support, come and spoke on this dais. So these teachers were always in support of UDSF because they saw it as a nourishing of Dalit young intellectuals, and they themselves at some point of time were part of it when they were students. And there is a sort of a generation of students who became a part of UDSF, and it was a more safer apparatus because it was apolitical and more on cultural, social front, revolutionary front. So there were festivals celebrated in JNU also, festivals called Durga Pooja. So I myself was disillusioned when the sons and daughters of Marxists were deeply involved in Durga Puja. So I said, what kind of cultural revolution they wanted to bring? So I have often find, well, I'm not surprised about ABVP or rightist student movement to take part in that, but I was not surprised, but was a little bit shocked. It's not unexpected. From the left elitist daughters and sons of Marx and Lenin could participate in Durga Puja by saying that it's our culture. So UDSF in that sense started a big project, sort of. This is in my tenure of CEC in UDSF. We started a festival called Jaibhimsaptha. So Jaibhimsaptha means the week of Jaibhim, and we started from 10th April to the 17th April. So we precisely choose these dates because 11th April is a birth date of Jyotiba Phule's birth anniversary, and 14th April is Dr. Ambedkar's birth anniversary. So we started celebrating that festival, Jaibhimsaptha. So from day first, we will start with Jyotiba Phule's life, his plays or his street plays or his povadas, or his some of his writings or seminar on him, and then it will carry on with Savitri Phule educational movement and his cultural revolution, and then on Dr. Ambedkar on 14th April exhibiting his pictures, paintings, his own volumes. So we had that sort of how can I say, the cultural exhibition or the exhibition on his life. So there are keychains, there are pens, there are sort of ribbons of his name, there are hats of written Jaibhim and blue flags and blue, and songs on Dr. Ambedkar, or from Tamil Nadu, from Andhra Pradesh, from Maharashtra, from Uttar Pradesh, from Punjab. So different states, from Bihar, Karpuri Thakur was one of the figure who contributed in lower caste cultural movement in Bihar. So we sort of try to consolidate the figures who supported the revolution raised by Dr. Ambedkar or initiated by Dr. Ambedkar. So on his birthday, we sort of try to give a pan-Dalit movement's picture. And of course, Dr. Ambedkar is the path-breaking figure to sort of bring in one umbrella. So, but there was a space for other leaders called Periyar Ramaswamy, Iyengar and Narayan Guru and Karpuri Thakur or Manguram from Punjab or other Dalit leaders as well. So they were singing their own song in their own language, and there were exhibition of his T-shirts, keychains, books, his writings and speeches, and there were plays written by Jyotiba Phule called no, there is a play called Teen Ratna written by Jyotiba Phule, and there is one more play written by Chitnis. Chitnis was a principal of Milind College in Aurangabad, founded by Dr. Ambedkar. And I think Dr. Ambedkar asked him to write a play on conversion. So he wrote a play called Yugantar. So these plays we were trying to play on these saptas. And of course there were seminars and rallies in respect of Jaibhimsaptha. So you see the very clear sort of participation. If at all a left movement are interested in cultural revolution, and if they wanted to sort of celebrate the progressive values, they should have been supportive to this revolution. They didn't take much part in it. While we are putting the toranas, banners of liberty, equality, fraternity, Jaibhim, or educate, organize, and not only just Ambedkar but Narayan Guru's movement or Periyar's self-respected movements and slogans from there. So there were hardly participation or the labor gone into such events from when UDSF take initiatives. So what's happening when SFI or ISA take initiative, Dalit are voluntarily become a part of that. But when Dalit takes initiative, they don't feel that they are involuntarily part of it, or give their intellectual, artistic, creative energy into it. So they always left on their own. So UDSF at the end always left on their own to bring out this cultural revolution. So you ask or you call that Durga Pooja is your culture, and you involuntarily take part of it. So the fight you are taking for, or the revolution you are bringing for, why don't you take part in Jaibhimsaptha? Or we have once, that news came in a Hindu as well, on 14th October, the date, 14th October 1956, the day when Dr. Ambedkar embraced Buddhism. So we sort of made a stupa, Buddhist stupa in Ganga Dhaba. If you enter into JNU, the right side there is a Ganga Dhaba and there is a space. So we established that stupa and the sort of portrait of Dr. Ambedkar and all the leaders from Shramanic traditions who encounter with the Brahmanic traditions, Ashoka or Kanishka or Pala dynasties, and in modern time Anagarik Dharmapal or the Bhadantananda Kausalya or Raul Sanskrutan, who himself was a Marxist at some point of time, Dr. Ambedkar, Periyar Ramaswamy, Jyotiba Phule and other leaders. So bring sort of this heritage, I won't call it alternative because I don't like the word alternative. Alternative means you already had something and we are producing something new. It's not like that. I would call it is aboriginal or a Mool Nivasi, or something which was already there, rooted, indigenous. That kind of terminology I would like to use for it. So we were bringing the indigenous roots, aboriginal roots, Mool Nivasi roots, to prove that how they were belongs to part of that culture from ancient traditions, what modern leaders were trying to revive under the name of equality, liberty, fraternity, self-respect. So these are the words modern leader used to revive those kind of traditions against Brahminical values, against Vedic values, in support of Shramanic values. So why don't this progressive movement in modern time feel the part of that Shramanic movement? Feel part of those traditions. After all, they are fought for it, they were for it, and they went against the Vedic values. Mahavira, Buddha, Charvaka, or the Sankhya, Kapil Muni, all these were the traditions. If you wanted to celebrate Durga Pooja as your ancient tradition, why not this? So they were never part of this cultural revolution, which is very much rooted in your own land. So you are bringing the what could I say, the Western frames of revolution to revive your own discrimination, which were deeply rooted in your ancient traditions. So how these modern Western frames could able to revive or root out your caste problem, which was rooted in Manusmriti, which was rooted in Veda, or 10th chapter of your Purusha Sukta in Rig Veda, how you are able to challenge that? You need a sort of the equal references, equal strength, which is deeply anchored in your own culture and traditions. I am not saying being orthodox. Of course, Jainism, Buddhism, Charvakism is a heterodox traditions. They are not orthodox traditions. That's what try to do with Narayan Guru in their movement. That's what Periyar tried to say, that self-respect movement. And that's what Dr. Ambedkar tried to revive Buddhism, or try to initiate these cultural movements to give self-respect to his own people and rest of the country as well. So Buddhism is not a religion as such, but it's a philosophy which addresses the liberty, which addresses the freedom, which addresses the fraternity. And I think Dr. Ambedkar is the first person who says in 1945 to BBC News that liberty, equality, fraternity I learned not from a French Revolution, but from my master, the Buddha, and successfully, politically, constitutionally, legally used it.
So now you are talking about this blue versus, can you also talk about, in many campuses, the Hinduism is part of ABVP. Whatever the program Dalits do, it is countering the ABVP. Of course, left also, but ABVP is an open critic, because left will also say that, oh, we support you. But ABVP is the strong opposer of Dalits in every campus, in OU or in HCU. Or this, in the sense, the way we do cultural festivals, the way we oppose Durga Puja, we oppose Onam, we oppose the Vinayaka Chaturthi. This all affects left also, but indirectly. But directly it affects the ABVP.
Yeah.
How did the ABVP see UDSF?
Well, politically speaking, at surface, they will try to show they are sympathetic to it. But underneath, there was a deeper discomfort in their intentions. There is a deeper discomfort or unease why these movements are growing, because what culture, that's what I am saying, when you produce a Diksha Bhumi, the place where Dr. Ambedkar embraced Buddhism, so they will easily co-opt that. They will say it's a part of Hinduism. But as I already spoke, it's not part of Hinduism. Buddha never allowed or sort of encourage, emphasize the Vedic values or the sacred text. So you see, there is a very sort of possibility of co-opting those cultural movements in their own fold.
Was there any fight, clash between UDSF and any other organizations?
Not well. There were some individual cases. Some CEC members were attacked by some rightist forces, or there were some clash with some even left leaders as well. But I don't think it was on organizational level, because politically it's incorrect. So they were easily branded as anti-Dalit, which they would not like to show. So there were always, like I myself faced a struggle with rightist leaders and left leaders as well. But it was more on individual basis, because they can't oppose me with the banner, because I was pest.
So that you mean that technically what they do is they don't focus on organizational level.
Yeah.
If they want to attack,
Yeah.
they attack
Individuals.
making it personal.
Yes.
So that could you give some examples?
Well, I can't remember right now, but
Your issue that you were threatened by rightist.
oh yeah, well, I was not exactly threatened, but I was sort of challenged by them. And there was one case in Jaibhim hostel, I think. I can't remember the name of that student. It was attacked by ultra left. There was a ultra left student movement in JNU, so they were attacked by them. To sympathize that Dalit student, ABVP supported that student.
Okay.
You see, so they were trying to prove how left is against Dalit and how ABVP is in support of you. But you see the helplessness of those values sometimes. That helplessness comes because your own movements are not strong. ABVP is strong, so Dalit will either go to ABVP. SFI or ISA or DSU or any other movements are strong, so Dalit will go to those organizations. Because Dalit students movements were not strong enough, is sort of becomes a vulnerable position for Dalit students.
This is one of the point also people say, but let me also ask in a different way. For example, SFI has a mainstream political party support, like CPM.
Oh yeah,
ISA
yeah.
also
Yes.
DSU also has. ABVP has a state level support. NSUI.
Oh yes,
ABVP.
yes.
But Dalit movement do not have support outside.
Exactly.
That's ideological gathered.
Yeah.
So that could you also differentiate between?
Yeah, very right. That's what we faced.